And welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm John DeShannon. Thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to be back with you. Got a little bit of news I'm going to bring to you tonight. At the end of the show, I'm going to be addressing a situation concerning my former co-host, David Heller. His dad has received a bad medical report. I'm going to be relaying some of that to you at the end of the show tonight. If you watch nothing else tonight, please be sure to go to that part of this show and watch that, because we owe it to David to pray for his dad. It gives me people praying for him, the audience here on the Citizen Report praying for him. So I will be covering that at the end of the show. I also want to briefly address the presentation of this show. So basically, you may have noticed that I'm not currently putting up intros and outros with music and stuff, that we would typically do here on the Citizen Report. But the reason why I'm not doing that right now, and it is temporary, is because I have just switched to a new computer, a new laptop, I should say, for doing this. And so as a result, I don't know of there being a video editing software built in, so I'm going to have to get one in pretty short order. Once I've done that, I'll be able to just produce it right here at this laptop once I'm done taping. And then once I've got that video editing software, you should see those intros, outros come back. So and of course, we are working on some branding changes. Ben and I are working on some branding changes, and there's some new voiceovers that's already been produced by a friend of ours out in Israel, believe it or not. So very interesting. I think you're going to like it. We got a lot of branding decisions still to make in terms of how things are going to look. But and I know this image behind me, I know that every few seconds it literally blacks out. So my apologies for that. I'm going to work on fixing that at some point, hopefully soon. But obviously, we're in a time of change here on the Citizen Report, so just bear with us, and pretty soon, hopefully, things will be ironed out a little bit. So let me share with you first now the news of the night. And the big story tonight is from the federalistpapers.org. This is from May 29th. This is their headline. Report: Fauci purposefully kept Trump in the dark, argued for that word plural that can create that word plural. Now, let me just stop sharing my screen and get your full attention for a second. I can't, this is going up on YouTube. As soon as this is done, it's going up on YouTube. So I cannot just say certain words because the algorithms, all right? And those of you who know me personally, by the way, know I love to be I'm a very descriptive person. Like I got that from my dad. I like to describe things in minute detail very thoroughly. And unfortunately, I have to turn that off in my head a little bit sometimes, because this is YouTube and they've already pulled down one of my videos, I think back about a month ago. And basically, I'm still under threat of that happening again. And if that happens again right now, I would literally be suspended from posting for a week or something. But my point being is I have to be very, very careful. So sometimes you're just going to have to look on screen or figure out what I'm saying. If you're not willing to look on screen, you're going to have to kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. But I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to just let you see this article for a second, but I'm not going to really talk much about it. But this is what you need to be aware of, because we're seeing Fauci, there's an avalanche of information that's coming forth now, okay? And now everything that independent people has been saying for like a year now, in some form or another, that it's not what the mainstream media is reporting. And they said, well, you cannot say this because it's not true, it's bogus, and we'll ban you if you talk about it. Now we're seeing all sorts of stuff just coming forward, and this is where we're at right now. And again, Pause this if you need to. Read this right now. If you need to, I'll leave it up for about 5 seconds, and I'm going to scroll on down a little bit. So there you go. And then I'm going to stop right there. Now let me real quick summarize one critical part of this. In October 2014, the NIH placed a moratorium on basically federal funding or using federal funding for a certain type of research. In December 2017, they lifted the Obama era ban on the use of federal funds for that certain type of research. And apparently what is coming to light now is that the mainstream, or I should say, Dr. Fauci did not tell key Trump officials of what was going on. Now, what if, and let me say something. I try to be very careful in distinguishing between fact and theory, okay? But what if this was allowed to happen? What if Trump and the Patriots knew what was really going on, because we've already been told by a certain poster that they have it all. What if, just a theory, they were allowed to do this to basically trap themselves? Okay. And if you listen to Dave at X22 report, I'm pronouncing it that way on purpose, obviously, because of algorithms. What if, like, for example, they were going to bring Hillary in. There was going to be this big war and have a great reset, and a bunch of people would get killed. And at that point, it wouldn't matter to people that survived, about their rights being taken away. They were robbed of that, and that they did this event, okay? They were robbed of that because of this thing, which, by the way, is also bad. And I personally am not doing this, okay? We have more than enough information to know that this is bad, okay? But they were robbed of their event because basically they through their own tactics, they now have this, and now they can't argue against it, because otherwise they would basically be shooting themselves in the foot by saying that if people shouldn't be doing this, then it's going to make people skeptical. So basically they're now stuck. They can't go left, they can't go right, they can't go up, they can't go down. And now they're exposed. They're being exposed. So it's a very interesting times that we live in, okay? And as time goes on, more information is going to emerge, I think. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, and I did say this is going to be a rather short show tonight. I say that for more than one reason. But I want to relay to you what's going on with David Heller. David Heller, for about a year, was a co-host of the Citizen Report. And he's stepped down from that. He's still chief weather correspondent, at least officially. And he's also occasionally a contributor to this show still, once in a while. And his dad has been going through some health issues. I can totally relate to that. Those of you who know my situation, you obviously know why I say that. So I'm going to just read to you what David Heller texted me yesterday. It says, quote, "Update on my dad. He's been rejected by the VA for a bone marrow transplant, and he cannot have a kidney transplant either because his bone marrow is shot up too. And right now, unless he gets a miracle from Jesus or he goes on the kidney dialysis, he doesn't have much long to live." So his dad has been dealing with cancer. David Heller's dad has been dealing with cancer. So I'm going to ask my audience here on the Citizen Report to please pray for David Heller's dad. Please pray for his healing, because I personally believe it is not God's will that we be sick, because it says very clearly, just hang on for 1 second. I'm going to pull up the Bible verse real quick. 3 John chapter 2. It reads, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. Now, that was King James Version. You're welcome to read in a different translation, okay? But that was that Bible verse, and I think that that right there just proves that it's not God's will that we be sick. So I'm going to ask my audience to please pray for David Heller's dad for his healing. The medical prognosis in the natural does not look good, but we know that God can do anything. And obviously, I hope that something good happens with David Heller's dad, that he can live and recover his health. But just please keep David Heller's dad in your prayers, and keep David Heller and his family in your prayers as well, because as I can totally relate, that is a very stressful thing to go through. And so my heart, I can totally understand what's going on with that, because I've lived through that, a fairly similar situation, in terms of a health being on the decline. So and I'm obviously referring to my dad. So just please be in prayer about David Heller's dad. I'm sure he would greatly appreciate it. I already told David I'd be doing a show tonight. I'd be announcing, be telling the audience here. So David Heller's obviously not here to tell you in his own words, but I'm here speaking speaking to you what his situation is with his dad. So please keep his dad, David Heller's dad, in your prayers. So on that note, and I believe his, if you want to pray by name, I believe that David Heller's dad is named Terry Heller, if I'm not mistaken. So I just wanted to inform you of that. Now, some housekeeping things as I close out tonight. It is apparent that Stinger.live is still down. I still have not reached out to anybody behind the platform. I want to do that soon. And if you have any contact information, please reach out to me. Obviously, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. They have now been down for a full week, as far as I know. So again, we're undergoing some changes here on the Citizen Report. As you can tell, I'm now using a pretty uniform background. I have a chroma key. In fact, I'll just turn it off so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. There you go. And then boom, back up. So obviously I'm on the set now full time, and undergoing some changes. As soon as I get some video editing software, I'll be putting back in the intros and outros that we currently use. And in the coming months, there will be some branding changes on the way. So I look forward to implement some changes here. I think you're going to like the changes that are coming. And please, if you feel led to, because it's hard to get this broadcast out. If you feel led to, please share the links to this broadcast. It really helps me out greatly, and I beyond words greatly appreciate that. So on that note, God bless each and every one of you. Keep me, if you don't mind, in your prayers also. I greatly appreciate that as well. I will be okay. I've been a little bit depressed, but I'm doing okay today. So thank you for watching as always. And above all else, pray for David Heller's dad, Terry Heller. Obviously not a good situation health-wise with him. He is a veteran, and I think it is a disgrace. Both David and I were talking about this in text messages. The VA is an utter disgrace. It really is. It's sickening, actually. So thank you for watching the Citizen Report as always, and I will see you right back here again next time. Have a good night, everyone.